Hi guys. Happy second day of spring from Pennsylvania, where I currently have at least 12 inches of snow outside the door. The kids were just outside playing, and I cannot wait for warmer weather. So I made this card last week, and I had posted it up on my Facebook, Nancy Stamps 15, Instagram, Pinterest, and it got a lot of questions, a lot of hits. So I'm going to make a video for you guys. But I wanted to show you the background, how we did that. Now the difference is this is on, it's called photo paper. It's Marco's brand. Here we go. Marco's paper digital gloss. Okay, so that's this one. You can see it's very dark. Just because of the type of sprays that I use. And then this one is on mixed media paper. So again, really cool effect to make it look, very watercolor and things like that. So just two different types of mediums there you can use it on. But we're going to focus on this card today. So let's start with the background because that is the messiest part. Now I will warn you, this video is probably going to be very long. I'm trying to make it as quick as I can for you, and this is very messy. So warning now. If you think anything is going too slow, you can tap right here on the screen 2 times and it will fast forward 10 seconds. If you need it to slow down, you can tap 2 times on the screen over here and it will slow it down 10 seconds. But if you're like me and cannot wait for warmer weather, please give this video a thumbs up. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to start with is, some of you probably already have some kind of a spray box. Now you don't need to go out and buy anything fancy. This is a box from a My Favorite Things order I got. And so we're just going to set that down, and as you can see here, makes a nice spray box, and I do like to keep a little paper towel in there. I do have a roll of paper towels over here on the side, and we're going to use a piece of Strathmore mixed media paper. This is very heavy stock paper here, so we're just going to put a piece of that in there. And if you don't like getting messy, you might want to wear gloves. This is going to get messy. Alright, so I have a number of different sprays here. I have Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. I have Tim Holtz Distress Spray. And I have the Hero Arts, I don't know what they call this, some kind of spray. It came with the Hero Arts kit. So the way you're supposed to use these Tattered Angels Glimmer Mists is you're supposed to gently kind of swirl them. You're not supposed to shake them, and then the mica at the bottom there will come out and go into the spray. If you shake them, it causes air bubbles and it causes the mica to get stuck in your spray. This one has a shaker bottle in it. This one is very dark. It came with the Stars Hero Arts kit, so it's like it's really dark, like a black. And then this is Tim Holtz Distress Spray Stain, which came in one of their starter kits. And then I have the Distress Sprayer with some water. I also have my heat tool on the side here, so let's get started. I like to start with the, let's do the darker colors because then we can use the lighter colors to move it around. And I'm just going to use very sparingly this dark because you'll see, look at how dark it is. And I just warned you guys about clogging nozzle, and this is now clogged. So that'll be the end of that until I can clean it up. Alright, now we're going to go in with the Distress Spray. And then the Glimmer Mist. And this one's called Sea Glass, and this one's called Patina. I think the Patina is a little darker, so I'm going to go from dark to lightest. And you'll see there's a lot of saturation with especially the darker colors here. Now I'm just going to kind of flip this up so that it starts to drip down. And I'm kind of leaning it on the box there. And I'm going to take my Distress Sprayer and spray it. And you'll see that water starts to move the pigment down a little bit. And if you don't like the way that it's looking or the colors, you can just keep spraying it and keep moving it until everything is the way you want it to look. And in between, you can dry, you can heat. right, so you guys get the gist of the idea. I'm just going to move all of this aside so we can move on with the video here. All right, so to save time, I do have a piece that I made before, which is all dry now, and I've cut it down to size here for you. I do have a card base also made up, so this will go onto the card base here. All right, so the next step that I did was I stamped out the seahorse. Now, the seahorse and these corals are from Creative Vision Stamps. I'll link their website down below. I've been ordering their stamps for years and picking them up at stamp shows. I met Laura last year. She's a sweetheart. I really enjoy seeing her. I'll be seeing her in a couple weeks at the new stamp show. So just great stamps. So the next thing I did was stamped out the seahorse here and used Stampin' Up! Daffodil Delight for that. And it is a cling mount stamp, and I wrote the name of the company on the back there because I don't keep the packaging or anything. So then I colored it in with some color pencils. So I'm not really making this into a coloring video, but I want to show you how easy it is, because this stamp is already pretty detailed as it is. I mean, you could just leave it like that. So I took 3 colors of color pencil, and these are Prismacolor color pencils. So I have lemon yellow, canary yellow, and yellow ochre. Now, I'll tell you guys a secret. I am really not that great at coloring. With these Prismacolor pencils, you want to turn the sharpener, not the pencils, because they are very soft, and I've heard stories about the pencils, the lead breaking. So you want to be very careful when you're sharpening them and to turn the sharpener, not the pencil. But you want pretty sharp tips there. Now, if you have, it's helpful to have some Gamsol and a blending stump. So what I did here is, again, I just started out with the lightest color and I colored the whole thing in the lightest color. Nothing special here. And again, this stamp is so detailed already. You really don't need to do a lot with it. It makes you look like you're really good at coloring when stamps are really done nicely like this. Has all the shading and everything in there. So you can see I'm just laying down color here. I'm not doing anything special. You could probably do the same thing with Copics. I am not as strong in my Copic coloring. I really like color pencils because guess what? You can erase your mistakes and Gamsol helps blend it out. All right, so that looks pretty good. We could leave it right there. Then I take the next color, which would be the canary yellow, and anywhere that it is darkened on the stamp, I just go in with the color pencil and darken it up. Again, not really doing anything special here. Now, in between what I would call the spines of the seahorse, you can see here, all I did was just darken in between. So now you're going to go into kind of some of the detail here. I hope you guys can see this okay. And anywhere there was those spines, I don't know what they're called. I just kind of went in and darkened it. I didn't color over those lighter areas because we want those areas to be very pronounced. So just follow the stamp. Anywhere that it's darker on the stamp, you just darken it up. And then same thing with the last color, just went in again on those spines and just kind of darkened it up. And I used a little bit lighter touch the darker I get because you don't want your pencil marks in there. Then at the end, I take a little bit of Gamsol and my blending stump. Can you guys see that okay? It kind of looks out of focus to me. And you just take your blending stump and you just kind of swipe that color across. And what that does is it eliminates the brush strokes, or sorry, the pencil strokes for you and smooths the color out. And it really makes it look like you're pretty good at coloring. All right, so again, I'm not going to run through coloring this whole thing for you guys. You get the gist of the idea. And then to do the eye, I took a gray IG4 Spectrum Noir, and I just dotted the eye. And then took a white Jelly Roll pen and just put the eye on there, eyeball on there. And it really, it's such a small thing, but it gives it such a dimensional look. Once I cut him out, then I just fussy cut him out. I took a yellow GB5 Spectrum Noir marker, and I just went around the edges with the marker and followed the edging there and just edged him up. So once he's cut out and colored, this is what we have for him, okay? And then you're just going to kind of put him aside as well. All right, so now we're going to work on the background. And a couple things we're going to use here. I'm using more stamps from Creative Vision Stamps. These are corals. And I'm going to be embossing them. So I'm using the embossing powders from, let me zoom you guys out here. Go. These are Wendy Vecchi embossing powder in Cactus Flower, Sunflower, Garden Patina, Potting Soil, and then this lime green one is a Zing embossing powder in fluorescent neon green. What I wanted them to do was kind of match the Distress Oxides that I'm going to be using. And what's nice is you can emboss with Distress Oxides. So we have Picked Raspberry, Twisted Citron, Vintage Photo, Cracked Pistachio, and Fossilized Amber. So let's do that. And again, we're just going to take my, actually, I want the darker side on the top, so we're going to do the lighter side on the bottom here. EK Success Powder Tool or your embossing buddy, whatever you have there. And I'm going to start with this Brain Coral, and I'm going to stamp that out in Picked Raspberry. Now, if you don't have colored embossing powders, don't fear. You can use the Distress Oxide ink, and you can emboss in clear embossing powder. So because this is a nice chalky finish, you can use clear embossing powder if you have that and color that in. And I just do one at a time. All right, and I'm not going to do all of these on camera. I will just do a couple so you guys can see how I did it. This one I did in the Twisted Citron. My desk is a mess. That's how you know you're making beautiful art, though. The messier the desk, the more beautiful the art. So, fun fact about seahorses is, number one, they mate for life. Number two, I'm sure most of you know this, the male carries the babies. So, Twisted Citron for that one. We're going to use the lime green or the neon fluorescent green on that one. All right, so what I'm going to do, guys, real quick is I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to stamp the rest of those out, and we'll come back to the next step. Okay, guys, welcome back. So you can see that I heat embossed everything. All right, so now's the fun part. We're going to color in these images. And what I like about Distress Oxide inks is they're pretty opaque. So we're going to start with the Vintage Photo. Put that down on our craft mat there. You don't need a lot. We're going to just take a little water brush, and we're just going to pick some of that color up and fill in our brown coral. Now, you could use your color pencils on this as well. I like the the raised effect of the embossing powder, and then the Distress Oxide inks go in there like a watercolor and fill it all in, and then they dry and they kind of have like this chalky, opaque appearance, which is pretty neat. And you just want to clean your water brush off with a little bit of paper towel. And then the next color we have is Pixed Raspberry. Same thing, just kind of filling it in. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Here, some of that blue is getting reactivated from the background and turning it like a greenish color. I don't mind that. If it bothers you, you can heat set this and then go back in and add another layer of color, and it will cover that up. This Twisted Citron really does have like this seaweed kind of color. And again, these stamps are already very detailed, so they don't need much. You just add a little color to them and that's it. You notice I'm really not taking my time. I'm just kind of slopping that color down and moving on. If there's any spots that look like they're missed, you just go back in and fill them in. All right, and then the last one we're doing Cracked Pistachio. And this paper is pretty good about absorbing everything pretty quickly, so there's not a lot of drying time or waiting. So again, if you feel like, hey, my colors aren't dark enough and I want to go back in and add some more, you can go right back in there and put some more down and layer that color and effect in there. Okay, so I think that looks pretty darn good. All right, so then the next step is you want to adhere it to your card base. So I've got my card base already set up. I put some darker blue underneath there to mat it. And you want to put this on the card with some really strong adhesive. I'm using Tombow Extreme because there's probably a little warping. If you don't like the warping, you can run it through your Big Shot machine between the plates and it'll flatten it out a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to take our little seahorse and we're going to pop him up with some Pop Dot, some dimensionals. Put him where we would like him. And then if you want to add a little bit of extra embellishment, I have these little clear like bubbles. We'll add a couple of those. And I think I got those from Cat Scrappiness. And they come in a number of different sizes. And there we go. I just used some multi-matte medium on that. And now we have finished our Seahorse card. So here you can see this one was a little darker because it had more darker spray in it. This one's a little lighter, a little darker with the coloring here. I just took my time and went in and darkened it a little more, but it's really not that bad. Now this eye, we can put a little black in there, tiny bit. There we go. Alright, so I know this was a long video, guys. I normally don't do videos this lengthy or with this many steps, but I thought you guys would like to see it again because of all the comments that I got on this one on Instagram and Facebook and such. So there you go. And again, if you're waiting for warmer weather and cannot wait for it to get here, give this video a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, click the little bubble down below and that will subscribe you every time I post a video. You'll get notified. Thanks for watching, guys, and keep on stamping. Bye.